As individuals, we are strong, but as a community, we are powerful.
Tell me what you need, and I'll do what I can.
Who are we? MSI. Who are we? MSI. Who are we? MSI. Tres, dos, uno. Hello, everyone. This is your host with the most, ALANRUELAS, and welcome to Get Going with MSI. I interview brothers and feature their stories because our stories are valuable. Today we have...
My name is Esteban Hamilton. Nice to meet you all. I'm a fifth-year senior at Cal State Fullerton on my criminal justice bachelor right now.
Sweet. Now let me tell y'all something. We're having a bit of technical difficulties behind the scenes. I accidentally broke the mic, but we're making this work. As you know, Esteban, talk to me. How are you doing?
I am doing fairly okay right now. It's been a little back and forth, ups and downs, an emotional roller coaster, and I'm on a pretty solid high rise right now.
Yeah?
A little bit of peace in between the storms.
Sweet, sweet. Now the question that I always tell people is like, how are you really doing?
For that answer, if I were to be honest, I can only speak in metaphors sometimes. Imagine yourself on a trapeze line, you know, those trapeze artists who are there balancing on a very tight rope. Now imagine that person on a unicycle. And while they're on a unicycle, they're still on the line. And while they're still on the line, they're juggling a kettleball, a mango, and a watermelon. That is a giant picture of just everything I'm juggling right now. And the delicate balance that otherwise will lead to a lot of stress.
I was like, what does that look like? And you just described I was like, what does that look like? So what I'm trying to hear is you're balancing a lot? Am I close to that?
So it's a lot of work, ambitions about master's programs, credentialing, my CSET, managing a healthy relationship and making sure it's healthy, both with family and loved ones.
Okay.
And, you know, keeping enough energy to go around for people I want to keep in my circle, both in and out of school.
So talk to me about healthy relationships. What is this that we're talking about? Healthy
relationships to me is this give and take that never exceeds how much you can give and never exceeds how much you're able to take.
Yeah.
You know, if I invest time into someone, if I'm dating someone, I invest a proper amount of time where they feel like their needs are met, but it's not too much where I'm constantly abandoning my other responsibilities to meet them. You know, my girlfriend, for example, as of right now of this timeline, she works at a medical office right here in La Habra.
Yeah.
And she likes having small visits from time to time because that's the only time we can really salvage and make. And it means a lot to me. It means the world to me. And being able to be there it's a precious thing. You know, it's difficult. It's a juggling act, but we make it work, you know? And if it ever gets too much, that's when it starts to get a toll. And we all should know what that looks like. You start feeling dread when you're thinking about seeing them. You start feeling resentment because there's some problems that go unresolved. You start to feel some financial strain because visiting them too often requires a lot of gasoline money or some sort of other aspect of your time. And I try to keep it at a healthy balance, you know. Healthy relationships means ultimately having balance. My mask keeps falling.
It's all good. Yeah. It's all good. I mean, we're following COVID guidelines, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have to stay safe of this. And let me tell you, for the brothers out there, so healthy boundaries. Talk to us about that as well.
Healthy boundaries is something everyone needs to understand for themselves. And if I were to visualize it, because I love doing visualizations, this is yourself in a sandbox, and you can't see anything because the sand's picking up. You're in a dust storm. You're not going to find a boundary until you bump into it. And when you bump into it, you recognize you bumped into a boundary, and you set it, and you establish that it's there, and you reference it. And for example, for someone, a boundary is someone who demands too much time. You have to set that boundary that, hey, I can't really afford to give you this much time because if I do, out of the kindness and love out of my heart, I'm going to be pulling something else out of my other personal life. And that ruins that juggling act I mentioned earlier. If the kettlebell starts getting too heavy, am I going to drop the watermelon and let it fall to the ground? No, I have to keep juggling it. if they change weights, if it shifts into more demands or less and it becomes too toxic, I have to respect myself and set that boundary and know when to drop it if I need to.
I definitely wanted the brothers to be able to hear your voice because, as I've said before, you're possibly one of the many brothers that inspire me. And ultimately, I want people to know who is Esteban. You know, you mentioned you were a fifth year, but let's go a little bit deeper because, you know, we want to get to know you. You know, but you're about to leave. You're a senior. You're about to go succeed and do everything. Tell me, who is Esteban?
Esteban is a very complex, eccentric, maniacal, lovable person whose boisterous energy can infect an entire room and will save and love everyone around him, except sometimes struggles to love himself.
Ooh, we're getting vulnerable. Now, no, I need to get vulnerable too.
No.
I'm having a good day.
Because Esteban, this is really weird talking to third person.
Yeah.
Esteban is someone who thrives in interaction. Esteban is someone who will literally go insane if he has to spend too much time alone. If he's in the library, he thinks about calling someone. If he's studying in the house, he calls his mom and sees how his work's doing. If he's on the road, he listens to videos of other people talking and having fun. Because being alone is probably the scariest thing for him. Because it could be for a lot of reasons. But Esteban knows deep down that with no one to give that energy to, he's unfamiliar with giving it to himself.
Well, let me ask you, what makes you happy?
Knowing that I have an impact in people's lives.
Ooh.
Knowing that what I say moves someone. And that isn't to say that I enjoy hearing my own voice. Sometimes I get shy or embarrassed if I watch old choir recitals.
I like hearing my own voice all the time. I'm just it's like archives.
It is archives. But the thing is that with my voice, I like having a little pragmatism to it. You know, if I'm going to say something, it should be something useful. If it's going to exist, it's going to be beneficial. And that is a very harsh way to look at my own voice and my own life and own story. But that's just from the way I grew up. Everything I do should have purpose. Everything I do should help someone. Yeah. Everything I do should benefit something on this earth. And I've had a very hard time growing and understanding whether or not that can just exist. You know, and continuing to go through college, it's taught me that sometimes just existing is okay.
Well, let me see. How is senior year treating you in one word?
Forgiveness.
Oh. Yeah. Why forgiveness? What's going on?
So, to those who don't understand what it means to be a fifth year, I'd like to enlighten some of the younger generation students. Sometimes when you're in high school, you have heard time and time again that some students are going to be going to a prestigious four-year university. You're going to go to a fancy four-year. They're going to go to an expensive public four-year. UCR, UC Riverside, UC Irvine, Cal Baptist, Azusa Pacific, and all these illustrious schools. But they always keep saying the same thing. 4 years, 4 years, 4 years. But for me, that wasn't really the case.
Yeah.
I'm in fifth year because I bought into that. I bought into that illusion that you had to finish 4 years, 4 years, 4 years. But that juggling act I referred to earlier, I didn't have any experience with that. This is the first time in a long time I had fallen in love with someone since all the way back in freshman year. Managing these expectations of work. Oh, Esteban, you're 18 now. You should be working right now. Oh, I know you're going to school, but you should be working. Esteban, you are going to be a sophomore. How much further into your career you're into be? Mind you, when I started, right, I'm currently still a criminal justice major. But when I started my journey here at Cal State Fullerton, I wanted to be a lawyer. I had these fanaticized ideas of being this passionate lawyer, like in all those cheesy, terrible Dick Wolf Law and Order shows, that I was going to be this attorney who spoke justice and nothing but. This person that was going to bring cases to the forefront and help support people and lift them out of very injustice areas. Places of injustice.
Let me tell you something. Like, that's part of the reason why when I talk to Esteban, it's like I get mesmerized with your words. I know that's like very straight to the point, but it's true. Like, I often say I see people's potential, and when I see you, I see the ambition, I see the determination. You always come here and you're focused. You're very much doing what you need to do, you know what I'm saying? And tell me, this ambition, your goals, your dreams, where is that now?
My raison d'être, my reason of existence right now is education.
Ooh.
And not just a teacher.
Mhm.
I'm an educational ambassador. I strive.
Wait, tell them. Tell them what you are.
I strive to make every resource that I have learned and acquired here and pass it down to the students behind me, to the students that come after me. Because there are a lot of resources that I experience and have been thankful and blessed to receive, both in MSI and Cal State Fullerton in general, that we as a collective whole have needed much sooner. Mental health awareness, therapy, counseling, guidance, mindfulness, yoga, financial aid resources, support, someone helping you navigate the complexities of
Esteban, you're
masculinity.
making me feel something. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Complications of masculinity, emotional intelligence. These are things that we need to help nurture in future generations. So when they come out of high school, they're not blindly wandering for the first time. If I could illustrate it in a beautiful example,
By all means.
I like to think about rock climbing. You have a guided tour and a bunch of kids with their little ropes and their belt buckles, and they have a little Velcro on the caliber. There's always someone that had to go up ahead, traverse that actual rock by itself with no safety, just so they can make it to the top and stab a pike into there. And when they did that, they created the support, tied a rope, lowered it down, and made it safe for everyone else to traverse.
Well, let me tell you this, our brothers, the next generation, it's very important to be able to pass on our, itty bitties of knowledge, everything and anything that we could provide. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and talk about and transition to our segment with anonymous questions.
Okay.
Not so anonymous, because I'm going to say the names.
Okay.
We got over here Gerardo Colon.
Okay.
Gerardo Colon wants to know what encouraged you to decide to join and continue in MSI. And I want you to say it. Say it loud and proud, brother.
What encouraged me to be a part of MSI is that this is the first organization I've ever heard of across all of the schools that I applied to. I've applied to Whittier, I've applied to APU, even Biola. All of them have accepted me. But this is the only school that had a resource that helped me figure out what it meant to be a man. Because I grew up in a very traditional Mexican home where the dad was a breadwinner. Was he an idiot who dropped out of high school to support a family? Yes, but he still did what he had to do. But in the process, he neglected so much of himself. And right now, he's so broken. And I don't want to end up like that. And that's why one of my deepest fears is to end up like my dad. And that's why when it came to MSI, they helped me figure that out. They helped me figure out and normalize and validate my experience and my personality of who I am. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to have moments where you're weak. It's okay that you don't like certain things. I like Dungeons and Dragons. Am I a weirdo? Am I suddenly less popular? Am I suddenly less capable or positive? No. It's just who I am.
Esteban, you are beautiful. That's what you are. Don't ever get it twisted. And if you like Dungeons and Dragons, well, you like Dungeons and Dragons. I like K-pop.
I run games all the time.
I like Blackpink. Let's rock with that. Now,
Right.
thanks for answering that question. We have Diego Lara. His question is not so anonymous. Here we go. What is the biggest challenge you faced that sparked you to grow as a person? Bum, 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 boom, boom.
This is going to be a little heavy for me to say this, but the biggest challenge was...
Within a minute.
In 2019 was the lowest part of my life, and I had contemplated suicide. I had failed several classes, work was not getting anywhere, and I was losing all ambition and focus. And it was either make or break. And it was only after I realized I could not do everything on my own, despite what I grew up doing, I reached out and found help, and that's how I grew.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I always say. 15 minutes does not do justice, but thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing these moments, because let me tell you something. I value your vulnerability, and I value the fact that you're willing to share with us here in MSI and the entire campus of CSUF your story. Now, with such a story about suicide and stuff of that nature and thoughts, we obviously have to refer to resources here on campus.
Counseling and psychological services.
Yes, we have CAPS, CAPS, and right here within MSI, we have Brother Naji, who is facilitating all of these mental health conversations. And if you are having thoughts, we have the hotline underneath for you to be able to reach. Now, this was our very special guest, the man of the hour, someone that I really wanted you guys to listen to because he breaks barriers just by speaking and makes me feel, well, special. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, like I said, for being vulnerable, sharing your story. You're just amazing, man.
Thank you.
I got you, man. All right, that's it for y'all. We'll see y'all on the next podcast, amigos.